Hey everybody, I'm Bobby Deen. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. I'm filling in for my mom, Paula, while she is recovering from, most of you know that my mom had a little eye surgery up at Duke University last week, and I'm happy to report that the surgery was a success and mom is feeling real good, but she's not quite camera ready, so I'm gonna fill in a little bit for her while she's on the mend. So, we were talking about this before, and I think that a lot of people have been asking for, well, I know that a lot of people have been asking for lighter recipes because the way that my mom cooks is fantastic and it's wonderful, but it's full flavor, okay? And we all know that. That's one of the endearing things about my mom and home cooking is that it's just, gosh, it's so good, right? Well, foods can be good and they can be a little bit lighter too. And so today what I'm going to do is show you a lighter version of peach cobbler, which is something that my mom and my beautiful Aunt Peggy and my grandma Paul, my brother, but we all, everybody makes peach cobblers. I mean, we're in Georgia, so it's sort of a no-brainer. Peach cobbler, blackberry cobbler, all those things are so good. And they're easy to make, okay? They can be lightened up in really simple ways. So anyhow, let's get started and I'll show you how to lighten up a peach cobbler. Now this recipe comes from a fine cookbook. One of my favorites actually. And it's called From Mama's Table to Mine. And it's by one of my favorite authors, myself. And right above my name there, you'll see that this book did fairly well. It went to, let's see, number 1 on the New York Times bestseller list. So that's pretty good, right? I'm proud of that. Anyhow, this is peach cobbler from Mama's Table to Mine. This was, I hosted a show called Not My Mama's Meals. And the whole premise of the show was to take all my mom's recipes and then lighten them up in really simple ways. So that kept me busy for a long time. And this is one of the results of that show and the book. So we're going to start by mixing together some peaches, okay? And look here, I don't have a problem with canned peaches or with frozen fruits or anything like that at all. When you're cooking at home, it's perfectly fine. You could use fresh peaches, and in Georgia here, we get them. So it's laborious, you know, to get a bunch of fresh peaches and cut them all up. It's simple to go canned or frozen, so whatever you like. But we're gonna start off by mixing together our peaches, a little brown sugar, okay? That's gonna be 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're gonna mix in some flour, a little lemon juice, and some cinnamon, okay? So I'm just gonna use a wooden spoon here and mix these things together. Just kind of gently. I'll fold them together because I don't want to tear my peaches up. That's beautiful fruit, and it should sort of stay together. You know, when we opened our restaurant, we started our business in 1989. And it was born, our business was born out of necessity, like a lot of other businesses. You know, we were just, you know, we were people trying to make a way. And what we knew was food. What my mom really knew was food. And so that was the direction that we went in. And when we opened our first restaurant, of course I started off as the pot scrubber and the dishwasher and everything else. But soon enough, I moved into the slot of making all the desserts. So for years, if you came to the Lady Restaurant, this is before we were the Lady and Sons downtown Savannah. If you came to the Lady Restaurant at 45 Eisenhower Drive in Savannah, Georgia, and ate anytime between 1989 and 1996, 1995 actually, and had dessert, it would have been made by my hands. I made all the cobblers, I made all the cookies, I made all the banana puddings, I made all that stuff. So I really got a good feel for making pastries then, really early on. It's funny how our roles have evolved in the restaurant over the years. You know, you go from one thing to the next. When you're a business owner, when you're a small business owner, and I think especially in the restaurant business, you got to be able to wear all the hats. You got to be able to do anything and everything. So if somebody don't show up that day, you better be able to know how to wait the tables, and you better know how to make the cobbler, and you better know how to make the coffee and the grits and the eggs and all that stuff. And oh boy, do I have some funny stories and memories from those days. And if there's time, we'll share them. Okay, so I've got the peaches mixed together with a little flour, a little cinnamon, a little baking powder, a little lemon juice. And we're gonna go ahead and put them into a small casserole dish here. Okay, this is a 9-inch casserole dish. And I've greased it a little bit because I don't want this stuff to stick. So I just sprayed it with a little nonstick. And I'm gonna go ahead and pour that mixture in, all right? And just sort of spread it out evenly in the casserole dish. And it looks really pretty already. This is a really, really great recipe, and I think you're gonna like it. So what I've gotta do is put this in the oven. I've got my oven preheated at 425, and I'm gonna put this in for about 10 minutes and let it bake. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and we'll see what it looks like in 10 minutes. And we're back. So my peaches are in the oven in the casserole dish, and they've been in for about 5 minutes, so we got about 5 minutes more. So now we're gonna make the dough for the peach cobbler. We talked about it being really easy to lighten recipes up in really elementary ways, okay? But I don't think I talked about how I'm lightening this particular recipe up. I'm using unsalted butter. That's one great way, okay? And I'm also using light brown sugar. So those are two really easy ways to start to dial back. And if you make really small cuts all along the way throughout the recipe, then it's gonna equal a big total. In fact, this peach cobbler recipe, if you compare it to, and I know that my mom's cobbler is one of everybody's favorites out there, so I really do want you to make her peach cobbler, enjoy it, and then I want you to make mine as well, and hopefully enjoy it too, and compare the two of them, and let us know what you think, you know? Because my whole point with lightening up this food is that you can have the things that you like more often if you can lighten them up a little bit. So I'm not saying don't ever have the full peach cobbler. I'm just saying, every once in a while. And then if you want to have it more regularly, then you can make a lighter version of it. So let's make the dough. I'm going to add into a medium bowl the rest of my brown sugar, okay, a cup of flour, a little salt and a little baking soda, okay, and there is my timer. Salt and baking soda. There's my timer for my peaches. So let's take a look at them and see how they look. It's been 10 minutes. Oh, they look great. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, look how beautiful. And now these are gonna cook for, after we finish the recipe, this is gonna cook for another 25 minutes. So I don't wanna overcook the peaches in the oven right now because they've still got some more cooking to do. All right, so we're going to whisk together the brown sugar, the all-purpose flour, light brown sugar, all-purpose flour, baking soda, and a little bit of salt. This is classic stuff right here. These are all expected ingredients. What I like about this recipe is that it's really quick too. I mean, this is a total of 30-minute cooking time and minimal ingredients. And I think that people like easy, cooking should be fun. And it shouldn't be terribly difficult, and good food doesn't have to be complicated. I've said that many times. All right, so I've got that whisked together nicely, and now we're gonna cut in our butter. It's 5 tablespoons of butter. Now that's another way to lighten it up. My mama would I don't remember exactly how many sticks of butter my mama's recipe calls for, but it's way more than this. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in using a pastry cutter, and my butter is a little bit soft. It's kind of room temperature. It makes it easier to work with, to me. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut that butter in until it resembles sort of well, you'll see. It'll look like it's supposed to look. So we'll cut that in until it looks like sort of a coarse, meal. And that's looking real good. Who doesn't like peach cobbler? I think there's nobody that doesn't like peach cobbler. I love it. Okay, and to make things even a little bit easier on me when mixing this up, because you can see it's sort of chunky. I said coarse, and this definitely is. So sort of chunky looking. Just keep on going and keep on going. I could take another break here, but I'm not going to. I'm going to let you watch me do this. Just cut that butter in. Cut it in, cut it in, cut it in.
Do you have trouble me talking to you,
Ooh,
Bobby?
who is that there?
It's your mother.
It's my mama. Should we see her?
No.
You look great.
Oh, son.
All right, so we've cut in the butter, and the last thing that we're going to add is a 1/4 cup of really hot water, boiling water. So, as soon as I walk off, my phone starts ringing. All right, so this is 1/4 cup of really hot water. And we're just going to continue to mix it with our pastry cutter here. Yeah, this is looking exactly perfect. Look how good. Now, peach cobbler is made to be eaten with ice cream. Oh, gosh, it's so good. I remember growing up, my mama would sit on the front porch of whatever apartment we were living in at the time, because what we did best was move. Oh boy, we moved a lot. We moved a lot. But my mama, everywhere we moved, would have an ice cream maker. And I remember that thing just as well. It was silver and black, and it was electric. It plugged into the wall, and it had a big bucket. And, you know, you'd have the metal urn down in the center of all this ice, and you'd pour rock salt all over it to keep the ice, you know, from melting and becoming a watery mess. And Mama used to make just the best homemade ice creams. She would make strawberry ice cream and vanilla ice cream. Those are the two that I really, it seems like Mama would make like a butter pecan ice cream. Gosh. The good thing about food too, especially desserts and cobblers and pies and things like that, is they just bring back such wonderful memories. I mean, all I got to do is sort of get started cooking, and then I just start thinking about my mom or my grandmama, or, you know, whoever the case may be. Aunt Peggy. We come from a family that loves to cook. And you know what? I'm gonna teach my children to cook. My wife likes to cook. It's just a great, I'm gonna use the word skill, because it is, you know, cooking's a good skill. It's a good skill to have. But it's also fun to cook with your family. You know, everybody can sort of take on a role, and it's just good. I think that people should cook together with their families and with their friends. There's just always good conversation to be had and things to be learned, and it's just good, you know? It's good. We should all go out to eat and enjoy good food too, but cooking together at home is just it's a great thing. All right, so I have got my dough pretty well mixed together, so I'm gonna use an ice cream scoop. Why did I start to talk about ice cream? Oh yeah, I started to talk about ice cream because ice cream goes very well with cobbler. Well, with my lightened up version of peach cobbler, I might suggest that you go, you know what, they make some really good ice creams out there now that you can find in the freezer section of your grocery stores that are really, really lighter, and they've come a long way. Or you could get a nice gelato to go on the side with this, whatever you like. All right, I'm gonna use an ice cream scoop here, and I'm just going to plop in a few pieces of our dough right on top. Looks good, looks real good. Try to get it sort of everywhere. This is going to be a recipe that you enjoy. I think you'll like it. But like I said earlier, I really want to hear from you. So try it, see what you think, see how it compares to my mama's or yours. You might have a great recipe, cobbler recipe that you like to do. Compare it to yours. See what you think. Okay. My hands are clean. I've washed them 100 times today. So I'm just going to kind of use my fingers to just kind of move that around a little bit and make sure there's a little bit of dough everywhere. Look at that. I predict good things happening in about the next 25 minutes. So into the 425, look at this, that came out of the oven, I can still handle it. Into a 425 degree oven for about 25 more minutes. So hang in there and we'll come back and we'll see what my cobbler looks like. So my cobbler smells delicious and it's time to take it out. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, I wish you could smell that cobbler. Look at that thing. Ooh.
Oh my goodness, Bobby Deen.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yum.
It's beautiful. Now, my mom was just asking me how I lightened this cobbler up. So let's talk about a traditional peach cobbler for just a second. When you make a traditional peach cobbler, you always make a simple syrup on the stovetop, which a simple syrup would involve quite a bit of white sugar, okay, and water, and you just boil it and stir it up and make exactly what it sounds like, a very simple syrup.
Yeah, cook those fresh peaches off in that syrup.
That's right. So we skipped that. We did not make a simple syrup. And rather than probably 2 sticks of butter is what a traditional peach cobbler would call for, I only used 5 tablespoons. So those are 2 really simple ways to lighten up this cobbler recipe. And we went from, let's see, a traditional peach cobbler before would be 14 grams of fat and 437 calories per serving. Okay, and my peach cobbler is this exact recipe is 8 grams of fat and 216 calories per serving. So that's quite a significant difference in really some easy ways. And the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. You see how beautiful this cobbler is right in
You
front of
might
you.
have your mama using less butter.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, so it looks great. Let's see how it tastes. Oh boy, look at that. That is a beautiful cobbler. And I got a partner in crime sitting over there at the table that's going to be ready to be my co-pilot and taste tester. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This looks so good.
There's ice cream
And
out over
and you know what I want to there is some ice cream. You know what I want to reiterate, y'all? I used frozen peaches, okay? And that is perfectly okay. Frozen fruits are just fine. You don't have to feel guilty about using a frozen fruit.
I like using the frozen Sunny Boy better than I do the canned myself.
Well, there you go.
Because they look, just like so fresh.
A little bit of not homemade, I wish it was. A little bit of vanilla ice cream right on top. And look how great that looks.
Yeah.
Okay, Aunt Peggy?
Yes, I'm waiting.
All right, it's gonna be super hot, so be careful.
I will.
I would mix in a little bit of that ice cream.
Okay.
Keep it cooled a little bit. Tell me what
Bobby,
you
it
think.
just looks delicious.
Doesn't it look great?
And your presentation is out of this world.
Thank you so much. Mmm. Mmm.
Mm,
Is it really, Peggy?
it's excellent.
Okay. I agree.
And it's probably, you can probably taste those peaches so good because it's not overly sweet, I bet. Is that correct?
Mmm.
It's just perfect.
Can't do any better than perfect.
Nope.
So please make my mama's traditional peach cobbler recipe, enjoy it, and then make mine and compare them and see what you think. And let us know what you think. My Aunt Peggy says it's perfect. Bye, y'all.
Yes.
Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.